An important announcement to share. It came to me on my meditative walk on Saturday. I think your lack of self-control cannot become another person's problem. That is a non-negotiable in a new earth. Think about how far ahead we could progress if we weren't worried about other people not being able to take care of themselves. Being able to take care of yourself, that is your power. Like if you don't have yourself, like if you're looking externally outside of you everywhere for like the answers, it's not going to work in a new earth. Okay, you need to be empowered from within. You need to be your own center of gravity. You need to act like the sun. Um, and there's so when I say your lack of self-control, like there's a lot of different like buckets that this comes from. And I've actually been like, the universe has been like throwing this in my face lately. And like, I also like, so let's start with substances. Okay. So your lack of control of like, if you can't just go out, I used to be like this, if you can't go out and just have one drink, and just like be super chill, like I would just always take it too far and just like be a mess of a human being. And so that stresses other people out. It puts other people at risk. It puts you at risk. Like it's just not a good scenario. And then like with drugs, I mean, like if you've been watching like the Angels Among Us videos I've been doing, which I have a whole laundry list in my head of people we need to talk about. I've just been so much has happened that you don't even know about. But we're gonna get there. And I'm excited to talk about all of them. But anyways, so like if you watch those videos, in a lot of it, like I talk about how those people were like either like on substances themselves or like someone near and dear to them like died as a result of substance abuse, right? And then so that can like throw you off your game unless you consciously choose to like stay dangerous and not like spend your life like in sorrow over the fact that like for example like I talked about Bruce Rivers, like his son died of a drug overdose after he spent his whole entire life trying to teach his son how to build something like the opposite of that. You know what I mean? Like that could be enough to tear a person down. That could be enough to like make a person want to take themselves out of the game. But instead, he's still showing up. He's still doing the work. He's still trusting the process, even if it doesn't make any sense, because it's not the universe in that case was not giving him what he wanted. It was giving him what he needed, which is what helps you evolve and serve your purpose. So, anyways, okay, there's substances. Mind you, my 3-year sobriety anniversary is on Thursday. I think March 27th. And I still want to talk like a whole bunch about that in a different video. But yeah, like, so ever since I've gotten sober, it's just like so much easier for me to take accountability like for my decisions. Like, I mean, like, I think about being like 19 years old. And like at that point, I was going to school full time and I worked at like a tanning salon almost full time. And I was also like writing, you know what I mean? So I was doing a lot. I had no time for myself. I did not know how to take care of myself. And like as a result, I was just so stressed out all the time. And I was like, oh my God, I need to have fun. I need to abuse substances. And so I would like go out and do that. And then I would have to show up at work, like still either like not sober or just like stressed out because I didn't have enough time to do my homework because I spent too much time partying. It was just like you're in survival mode. And that is not the way. Like now I'm so at peace, like there's always enough time to get everything done. And like nothing is ever so timely that it's just like like I can't take 5 minutes to breathe if I need to. Like I'm very like my nervous system has gone from like 1 million bajillion dysregulated to just like flow. And this is actually the first time in my life when like I'm at a really good place. Like I look in the mirror, like I can look at myself fully naked with no makeup on and I can be like, wow, I still love myself. Whereas like before when I was younger, it was like I had a hard time like even like looking in the mirror because I didn't like what I saw and I felt like the need to like cover it up and change it. So I've really come to a place of like radical self-acceptance. But we can talk more about this another day. Okay, so bucket one, that's like substance abuse, right? And like yeah, so be it alcohol, drugs, whatever. And also I've said fear is a substance. So if you can't control your own fear, your own emotions, that is another bucket. Okay, so growing up, like I was actually talking to King Henry last night, and I was telling him like when I was young, like right now, like I'm 26 years old, but like I feel so youthful and exuberant, and I really do feel like anything is possible, right? But where like when I was younger, I was very serious and I felt very just like tired and lazy and unmotivated all of the time. And like part of that is because I was so responsible for other people's emotions. Like the adults in my life could not be responsible for their own emotions. So, like as a little girl, like I had to bear that burden, and just like either try to help them or like like no one taught me how to deal with my own emotions then. So it's like then I have my own plus theirs, and it was just like a lot. right? So now it's just like I know how to set those boundaries. And like if someone is not handling their own emotions properly and they're trying to project it onto me, like honestly, because I am such a sensitive person, I spend a lot of time alone, and I'm just like, okay, if you can't respect the fact that like I'm a sensitive person, I don't really want to be around you. And like if I can't trust you to control your own emotions, like I was having that issue with my parents for a while, like when I first moved back in with them, but like they've actually like done a lot of work to both become a bit more conscious in that area, which like has allowed us to have a better relationship. But like, so how I always explain it to them is it's like to them, like sometimes they think that like maybe I lack common sense because like the humanness of life, sometimes it just doesn't come so naturally to me. Whereas like and like that can be frustrating for them. Whereas like for me, I'm like, you lack common sense because you don't know how to handle your own emotions, or you can't see your power in this situation, or you can't see like where you're holding yourself back. And to me, like those are the basics of life. So it's frustrating that they don't understand those, and then so then that goes back to, this is a King Henry quote, different things make different people happy. Um, but so yeah, just like knowing, and so I have bipolar, right? And so before I was medicated and before I was conscious, like my emotions, I have a lot of Scorpio in my birth chart. I carry a lot of power, a lot of rage, okay? And I could very easily influence the energy in a room, either positively or negatively, like just based on my energy and what I was emitting, right? And now I take accountability for that. And I really try to be just like, like a ray of sunshine. Like even if I'm not feeling great, like I still like look aesthetically pleasing, I guess. So then like you get pretty privileged, you get good karma for that, I swear. Um, but yeah, so it's just like I know what is mine and I know what is someone else's. And you have to do a lot of work to get to that place. But yeah, it's just about setting boundaries and just kind of like knowing how sensitive you are and like considering that other people might feel different ways about different things, whatever. Um, another bucket, I guess this kind of goes with emotions. These are all kind of like connected. They flow into each other, these buckets. So there is self-love. So your lack of self-love cannot become another person's problem. Okay, because if you, and I've been on both ends of this, okay? And mind you, I was not raised by very confident people. I had to, like, it's my birthright to be very confident. I'm a Leo rising and I'm a Leo North node. So it's very, and I'm Aquarius South node. So that means it's like, I feel like I spent the first quarter of my life like really helping other people and like setting them up to succeed. And then now I'm just like, okay, I need to be selfish. Like I need to reach my full potential. And it's like I'm striving to build a life with someone that like has that same mindset as me, where it's like he knows what he needs to take care of and I know what I need to take care of, and then we want to come together and take care of each other and build a new earth. I'm talking with my hands a lot today, but yeah, that's like the vision. Like we were literally talking about how it's so distorted, like people don't want to have families anymore. We're just like, let's go have a family, like let's spread some love, like let's do things, like let's be really positive, right? And so I have done a lot of work on myself to get to where I am at. And I think like even before I got here, it's just like my presence. Like I was really smart when I was younger. And so like um people would always like compare themselves to me and like just automatically feel like less than. Like probably in like grade 7 or grade 8, my best friend, like she didn't have a lot of money or anything. And like so I like just because of like the circumstances of my life, like my parents could afford to like put me in different like dance classes, and I did like theater and like horseback riding and stuff like that. And like I would go on vacation and stuff, and like my parents would be like, oh, like if you want to bring a friend, like like they obviously would just have to pay for like their own plane ticket, but like whatever. And so I would like invite my friends, and then like they would get bitter because it was like they couldn't afford it, and it was like I was never trying to rub it in their face, but it's like they just like they were stuck in that lack mentality, that victim mentality, that less than mentality. And like that is kind of like what my parents had too, even though like they were really able to provide everything for me materially, but it was just like, it's really ingrained in your mind. But like I've never that like anytime I've put that out there, it's been like a learned behavior. Like naturally, I am very generous of spirit. Um, and so okay, back to self-love. Let me keep this a little bit more focused. So self-love is important because like if you don't like own up to all your own accomplishments and fully like embody like okay, like I am here on this earth with a purpose, and yes, maybe like I am not as pretty as this person or as smart as this person or as funny as this person, but I am XYZ. It's like you need to own what you are instead of like obsessing over what you're not. That's a really good one. Yeah, that just came from beyond. But like I've been having this experience at work lately too, where it's just like me showing up like, like in as myself and like doing my job. Like that can be really triggering for some people if they're in like an ego-based space. Like this job that I have right now, it has taught me so much about people and human nature. Like it's very fascinating to me, and I'm so glad that I'm not in a place where I take it personally. Like since I am like really in like I've healed my feminine energy, and I am like very like in like a psychic space, I guess. Like I have noticed that like if other people are like projecting onto me, like I experience like chronic pain and stuff sometimes. Like psychic attacks are really real. So I've had to like put in a practice of like before I check my phone, before I'm responding to other people's messages for the day, like let me just take a little bit of time, let me do something for myself. Even sometimes it's just brushing my teeth, but it's like, okay, let me make sure I get out of bed before I just like open my laptop and start working. Because I'm the kind of person, it's like I can start and then I'll just get sucked into like having done 3 hours of work and I haven't done anything for myself. And it's like, okay, yeah, I was productive, but it's like I am my center of gravity, and I can show up as a better leader and a better teammate and a better follower if I have taken care of myself, right? So, um, I am kind of having to like teach people like this, like if I can't even remember if I said this at the start, but like people that work for me, like if they're not like turning in their work in on time, it's like maybe it's because all these planets are in retrograde or something, but it's just like the past week or so I've had to like check in with like pretty much everyone and be like, hey, like if you can't meet this deadline, like can you make sure to communicate that? Because you can't just like not do your work, And like obviously, yes, life happens, but it's just like I am kind of having to be that like accountability buddy for everyone and just be like, all right, let's be a little bit fucking for real right now. Yeah, but everything that I've been going through lately, I feel like it's like preparing me for motherhood, which is good because I feel like that's going to be one of the most important parts of my life. I have Pluto, yeah, my Pluto is in Sagittarius in the fifth house. So I probably could make a whole video talking about my experience with that. But yeah, I was pulling cards randomly before, and I was playing with this little fairy deck, and pregnancy and childbirth came out right after spring. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't think I wanted to be a mother so soon, but we'll see what happens. I'm just going with the flow of life. And that is part of self-control, like knowing that all you can control is yourself, right? Because if you're trying to control everything outside of yourself, then it's like you're gonna lose your center of gravity. You're gonna be spinning out, you're gonna be fucking crashing out and lost in the sauce. So it's like you really just need to like stick to the basics and like just set a plan for yourself, like have a basic routine. And if you're stuck in survival mode, like I think maybe I was saying earlier, like um when I had a job and like I was going to school full time and I was like writing, I was doing all these things, my energy was so scattered. It was like I always told myself like, okay, like I just need to lock in. I just need to set a routine, whatever. And I could never get that. But now it's just like I couldn't fall out. I'm just like, I'm so used to like, okay, this is what I do. This is how I take care of myself. Like, this is how, and if I start to feel odd, then I just go back to the basics. And that's kind of what you have to do for yourself is like set up a toolkit of like, okay, this is how I stay winning. Like, I stay focused on these things. And this is what keeps me in alignment and keeps me focused. Cause it's like, you need to know where you want to go, right? Like, okay, so basically, like, I don't even know if I was going to talk about this in this video, but like the past however many months, I have just been blindly trusting that, okay, this is the future that I want. And the person that I want it with is not in my life right now, but we're going to come back together. And that it's all everything is happening in divine timing, right? But it's like I had no concrete proof. I just had to trust. And instead of crashing out and getting distracted about everything that wasn't happening in my life, I just had to focus on the basics, which was like showing up for myself and continuing to take care of myself and like doing mature, responsible things, like literally getting good at paying bills, keeping my room clean, like decluttering, like the boring nitty-gritty shit. But because I've done that, it's like I have created a landing pad in my life for everything that I've ever wanted to receive to show up. Right. And it's like, it's freaking me out a little bit because I'm like, damn, like, okay, I felt it. I felt the ship in the harbor and I used my big, strong muscles to pull it in. And now I'm like, okay, I can never go back. And I keep having moments like that where I'm just like, I'm sitting in my living room, I'm sitting in my kitchen, I'm sitting outside my house, I'm sitting like I'm being where I am, and I'm realizing I'm like, damn, like this is all about to be over. Like this might be the last time I ever do this. And obviously, like, well, is it going to happen quickly? I mean, probably. And I don't even know what it is, you know what I mean? I'm just like I'm receptive to it, whatever it is, the energy of like whatever God tells me to do, whatever I feel called to do. And um people that there's a whole generation of people that are so caught up in their humanness that they forget that they are divine. Like you are a divine being. You have a purpose of being here and like living out your talents, your gifts. Like that's what a new earth is all about. Like it's like getting together and feeling all right and spreading joy and spreading love. Um, and so King Henry actually is a great example of like he always teaches me how I can be better. Like we were on FaceTime last night and we were talking like he like how do we even get to this conversation? We were talking about I was telling him how like when other people don't love themselves enough, like how that has been a problem for me, and he was telling me like how he handles that in his life because he is also, like a very like he's just a great person, you know what I mean? Like I could see why someone would be intimidated of like by him. Um, I'm not, I love him, but I can see why someone would be, right? And so he said like, and he's very like he's mind freak too. So he's very like aware, he can read people. And so he told me that like if he kind of senses that someone else like is getting an inferiority complex, it's like he'll use that as a moment to like really connect with them and like compliment them and try to make them feel good about themselves. And I was like, this is why I love that man. Like this, I would literally, I'm like, that is so beautiful because like that showed me and myself how like I use that gap, like if I notice someone feels inferior to me, it's like, he tries to bridge that gap and like form a connection. And I think that's so beautiful. Whereas me, I kind of just like, maybe I make the gap a little bit more obvious. And I'm like, okay, well, are you going to level up and meet me here or no? And that could just be like the difference in our personalities, but then also like him explaining that to me, it really showed me like, okay, in those moments, like, sometimes I think that it's warranted to do it my way. And sometimes I think it's warranted to do it his way. So I'm like, okay, going forward, I am going to look for opportunities where I can bridge that gap. And if I notice, actually I just remember this, like one time I went to the grocery store and the girl that was checking me out, she kind of like, I don't know. I just felt like she was a pretty girl, but I feel like maybe she felt like sometimes pretty girls feel threatened by other pretty girls. Um, and so she didn't really say anything to me. And then I actually was like, hi, like, how are you? And then she like actually was really nice to me and like gave me a compliment and stuff. But it was just like because I like, initiated that and just let her know. Like sometimes you just have to let people know that you're not a monster because we are living in fearful times. We really are. People just kind of like assume the worst. Like it freaks me out actually like how inherently negative some people are and like how they don't have their bias blockers on. Like I guess I probably used to be this way too, but now I'm just so like I I see it so often. Like, someone will say something to me and I'm like, well, let's take a step back and look at this from a different lens. And like I'm like, well, maybe you feel the way you feel just because of how you're looking at this. Like, why don't we take a higher perspective, change the way we look at things? And I think that is kind of how you gain self-control. You realize again that your power lies in the present moment and you choosing to do the next right thing. Like if you have a million and one things to do, you can only do one of them at a time. But like if you're leaving things to the last minute or you're just like you don't know why you're doing what you're doing and you should be doing something else instead, like that's the key, It's like, sometimes you want to feel good. It's like you're so stressed out, you just want to feel good, but you can't always feel good. You have to find delight in pushing your rock up your hill. Okay, so please do not make your lack of self-control another person's problem. Take accountability for your actions. Ask yourself, like, is what I'm doing right now for my highest good? Is it serving my purpose or is it just filling the need of my little self, of my ego? Like, spend more time in your big self, okay? Remember that you are divine. I love to talk with my hands for some reason. I don't know what's gonna happen, you guys, but I know everything is right on time. We're right where we should be. Um, do I want to put cards? No. That'll be another video. I'll be back soon to talk about more things, but I'm glad I got this out. It's been sitting on my heart for a while, and I feel good about it. And I love you guys. Okay, bye.